Okay, Chris, let's get started. The first thing I want to do is I want to confirm that you've done the API setup.
Again, I don't know if I've done anything because I've talked to nobody, so I don't know.
Okay, so let me just walk you through this. I don't know anything about your account, so I can't really comment. Vic, is he hosted? Is he self-hosted?
Self-hosted.
Okay, so we'll hook him up with support to make sure that he gets his API set up. But here's what we're going to do. So you're going to be selecting the Act Web API. If you're self-hosted, you're going to be using Act Connect link, which will generate an address that goes here. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what that address is. We will tell you once we set it up. It's a 5-minute setup process. It generates it. It's a dynamic host name. And once you get it, you put it in here, set it, and forget it. Database name, fine. That's not going to change. Your login and your Act password. Okay. Just be mindful of the fact that if you make it a practice of changing your password every 90 days, or if you've got password policies that enforce that kind of rotation, just understand it's going to impact everything. It's going to impact linktivity. It's going to impact handheld contact. It's going to impact almost anything. So just be mindful that if you do implement that, this is something that you'll have to update each and every time.
Okay.
Okay. So once that's done, you're going to type in your.
Somebody's going to contact me on this. So
yeah, I'll get Vic to take care of the follow up on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just taking notes. See me looking
Well,
down.
remember, this is all recorded, so don't worry about taking notes. Let's just focus on this. So your login isn't going to change. Your password, when you type in your password, it's going to come up as encrypted, and then once you click on save, it's going to appear blank. Okay, but it's there. Then you're going to click on test connection. Once you've got a successful test, you're pretty much ready to go and jump straight into link2quotes. Okay, now once that's done, you have been given a voucher code, okay, for link2quotes. If you haven't redeemed it yet, go up here, click on Manage Subscriptions, okay, and click on Redeem.
Okay, redeem, yeah.
Okay, put in the code. Your email should pop up here, and just click on Validate. That's
and
it.
All that's doing is getting me registered.
That's going to register your link2quotes. Okay, so when you click over here, you're going to be ready to go.
Got it.
Okay, so you've got that. Because you're self-hosted, I've got to say something I always say. Make sure that the API, when we set it up, is pointed to the master database. It cannot be a subscriber database. It can't be a syncing database. And the reason is link2quotes has to create 6 fields in your database. And that can only be done on the master. So 99% of the time, that's not an issue. Okay, but because you're self-hosted, I've got to kind of say that in case you run into that issue. Okay, so that's all of this stuff seems like, kind of tedious, but you're pretty much now ready with the API set up and the subscription redeemed. You're ready to pop on over to link2quotes. Okay.
And once that stuff's done once, I never deal with it again.
Exactly.
Correct.
Well, you'll have to redeem a subscription next year, but that's pretty easy.
Yeah, but not every time I open it, though.
No, of course not. So now you click on link2quotes, and we are going to go through the settings that you have to do. Okay. So we're going to click on settings over here, and we're going to click on at the very end Act field mapping.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I said 6, it's actually 4. I think there's 2 opportunity fields, but let's just say these are the ones, okay? Now, it needs to create the quote number. It needs to create the deposit required value field, the quote currency, and the shipping cost, okay? Because it's going to be writing that information to your database. Now, this will create, through the API, the fields in your database. You don't have to go out. You don't have to click on define fields. You don't have to become a database master. You don't have to do anything. Okay. You just click on save and close, and it will create it. Okay. Now,
if I don't have a shipping cost, I just exit out.
yeah, you don't have to use it. Okay. It's going to look for it. Okay. So create the field and then forget about it. The reason that there's little drop downs here is
Yeah.
because if you already have those fields, then you could map to those. Okay.
Got it.
Most people don't.
Right.
Doesn't matter if you're not going to use them. The program will error out if it doesn't find them. Okay.
Got it. Yep.
Okay. Now, at this point, when you click on save and close, you're going to have to exit out, go get a coffee, okay? Wait anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes because sometimes the API needs to refresh, okay? And that's the only time you're ever going to have to wait, okay? Because what you want to do is log back in and have the API recognize that the fields are there, and then you're cool. You never have to do that again.
Got it.
Let me explain something though. You don't have to use inact. You don't have to, be looking at those fields or anything like that. But this utility will create the fields in your database. What it won't do is add them to your layout. It's impossible for us to do that, okay? So if you want to see those, then you have to go into your database, and let me just show you here.
When you say showing my layout, what layout are you talking about?
I'm going to show you the opportunity layout. Okay, so this is my database here.
Yeah.
If I go over to opportunities, okay, and let's say I just open up this one. This is my opportunity layout, okay? I don't know why that did that. Come on. Okay, so here's my opportunity layout. Okay, this is going to drive me a little crazy. Okay, here's my opportunity layout. You can see here, quote currency, quote number. Okay, you'll have to add those fields to your layout if you want to use them.
Manually.
Okay, and
Yes.
all you're going to do is you can get us to do it if you like. I'm just saying it has to be added. You
But I
click
mean,
on.
you say added, it needs to be added so they automatically populate, or
No,
you're
it
telling
needs
me I
to
got
be added so you can see it. It's going to populate, but it's going to be a field that's populating that you can't see. So that
it.
isn't any good to you.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's just something that you've got to do. And again, I'm going through all the tedium of this one-time stuff so that you understand what you've got to do. And this is the only program that we've got to do that with. Okay. So once we've got that, go back here. Okay. Then you're good. So then you go back in. Okay. And the next big thing is layouts. We call them layouts because, quite honestly, templates is what we originally called them, but then templates were understood to be, saved quotes more than anything else. So here is where you're going to create your original layout. Now you're going to get one default layout, okay? I'm going to click on here just to, but here's all your options. So you're going to get one default layout. You've got duplicate, export layout, delete layout. This is viewing it. So you can click here to preview. Okay.
So I'll just change, and then I'll be able to take one and make it the way I want it to look with logo and everything.
Exactly. And you can make them a different template because I noticed on your the document you sent over, you said, what is it called? You said, was it construction division, landscaping division, concrete. You may have different quotes for each division, okay, based on what the required formats are. So you can actually create one template and then click here and duplicate it and then make the appropriate changes for each and every template, okay? Okay, and it's really easy to toggle from quote to quote to different templates. but I just thought that that might be of value given
Oh,
after
yeah.
once I took a look at it. Okay, so now I'm going to click on here to edit. Now again, anytime you set up a quoting system, there's always going to be that initial setup. Okay, initial setup of templates, initial setup of products, and the one thing I'm going to tell you is make sure that you go to the trouble of getting the template right. Products you can add as you go. Okay, you'll get some people that will say, well, I want to have all my products in there so I can quote on the fly. Whatever, fine. To me, it just creates a bigger speed bump at the beginning. But the template you can't do on the fly, okay?
Yeah.
Because the template you've got to really get correct. So here's the template layout. You're not going to need to know the English code or the language code because we actually have the ability to switch between English and French on ours, okay? It's a really cool feature, but you know, unless you're in New Orleans, I don't think that that's going to affect you much.
No.
Okay, the title, you can call it quotation, you can call it estimate, you can call it proposal, you can call it whatever, who cares, okay?
Yeah.
Here's where you're gonna put your logo. Here's where you're gonna put your address information, okay? Now
Yeah.
the top part, all these different fields here have these little MC editors so that you can format them, put them center justified, left justified, full justified, bold, italics, put in hyperlinks. I encourage you to put in hyperlinks, okay, because these are online quotes and it's really, really useful to have hyperlinks that kind of link out to your privacy policy, your refund policy, terms and conditions that you may have on your website, that kind of thing. Just the more you can link out to, the more you're protected.
So
So
what you're doing is, so if you're going to hyperlink that, you would make the description in the notes, say, just for argument's sake, it would be a very brief description saying, click on hyperlink for terms and conditions.
now I'll get to that. I'm just saying, yeah, but I would say if there's things like refund policy, see, I noticed that you've got a cancellation policy.
Yes.
You may want to put a link to your cancellation policy here. Standard terms and conditions, put everything in here because when they accept it, they're clicking that they accept the terms and conditions. Okay.
Got it.
Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. So that now the deposit required indicates the above is due immediately. Like this is just the introductory text. Okay. There's no right or wrong. I put in acceptance text because I like to have this just before they accept. By accepting this quote, I hereby accept the above terms and conditions, blah, blah, blah. I hereby acknowledge that the vendor reserves the right to cancel orders based on what you've got a lot of your own text in that document that you sent. So that's all good. Okay. Now, this is the part that I think you're going to have a really easy time with. The document that you sent has all kinds of terms and conditions in it. So copy them, paste them into here, and then select them all, like do like a select all, and then hit this, clear formatting. Because no matter what you do, you're going to be pasting in some hidden code from Word that's going to fuck you up somehow, and it's going to create, unexpected results. So then once you're done clearing the format, go in, do all your bolding. You can set, I notice that you use a lot of numbers here. You can set the numbers as
Nice.
well. Okay.
Yes.
Put in the hyperlinks. So just do like, this. Okay. And put in the hyperlinks there. Just format it. It's a one-time thing. Okay. And
So
then
so I'm following all of this really good. Go back up for a second, a little bit, just up to where no, down below where you just were. And then so the only thing I'm not following is the hyperlink, like with that blue thing that says act.
Yeah, this goes out because I don't want my terms and conditions to be like the Magna Carta, okay? I want it to cover what's relevant to me. But like, for instance, please refer to our ACT compatibility matrix. Do I really want to put in all the rules of compatibility in ACT in my terms and conditions? Do you really want to put in all the principles of water and cement in your terms and conditions? Like there are certain things that you're going to want to have enforced and clear, and the others things you're going to want to have as a reference point. Okay.
So what'll happen is when this thing's on the on when it's completed and we save this, they'll be able to click on that, which will take them to another page to read that.
It's actually going to open it up. I'm going to show you all that. Okay. Okay. So this is the behind the scenes, how the sausage is made. I'm going to show you the sausage when we're done. Okay. So this is, and you can see that this could be really long. It does not matter. Okay. And we're going to publish this in all your quotes. Okay.
Great.
So then the closing text is what you want to say after, after they accept it. Okay. If you want to put in, haha, sucker, I got your money, or whatever, anything along those lines, you can put in there.
That gets delivered to them after they sign.
That's like the answer page. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ignore some of this stuff, Chris.
Okay.
I actually like it. I might add it in.
Okay. Yeah, it's your money is now my money. Okay, so acceptance email content, inherit from the account, because there is a default email account, okay, or a default email. What you can do is you can select a template, which I'll show you how to create later. Okay.
Acceptance email content.
Okay. This is, when we get it, you're gonna say this is really cool. Okay, but I don't want to jump ahead because we're gonna be all over the place. Now, calendar link. I love this feature. Okay. Now you don't have link to calendar, I don't know. Okay, but if you do, definitely enable the calendar link, because what that enables you to do is you can literally put in your calendar link right in the quote, so that and that's the whole point of Linktivity being a suite of programs, is that there's cross pollinations that kind of reinforce each other. So let me kind of go back here.
Oh, and Chris, if you're having trouble seeing, on the right-hand side, you can, if you move your mouse over to the right-hand side of your screen, you should see a plus button where you can increase or decrease, zoom in.
Oh, yeah, that's great. That's great. That's great.
Yeah, no one's as old as you, Vic. Okay, so now, okay, and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so I send out this quote, and you see at the bottom here, if I hit that radio button, this will enable, and the person can click on this to book a meeting with me. Okay.
Oh.
So this is something you may want to consider getting, because you're not selling fuller brushes, you're selling very expensive commodities, right? So they may say, okay, all of this looks good, but can we just have a sit down and talk, and they can click on this and book a meeting. Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so now here's the terms and conditions. Okay, you click on this, there you are.
Oh, perfect. So it's keeping that main page clean, so they're not like
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the deposit and delivery, because there's going to be some stuff that I want them to see. Okay. Yeah. And that same thing here, and you'll see here terms and conditions here, terms and conditions here. You notice this is right by the accept quote. Okay. So they can't.
Hold on.
So the terms and conditions is surfaced here, and it's surfaced here. So when they click on accept quote, they can't say, well, I didn't know what the terms and conditions are.
Right.
Okay. Okay. You'll notice as well, it's going to.
So let me ask you a question. So like, I know that some of the DocuSign products I have, so when they sign this, it's a binding document because there's some type of proof.
I'm going to show you it, and you should enable the security that I'm going to show you later. Okay. We don't enable it because our quotes can range from like $90 to $5,000, and we have to apply kind of like a one-time rule that applies to all of it. You're not going to be selling $90 products, and you're not going to be, quoting, spa filters or anything like that. Most of your stuff is going to be 50,000 or more. So I'm going to show you one cool trick that you don't even know about, but you're going to love, I promise you. Okay, so let's go back to the layout. So that's where you enabled it. We also have if you've got link to forms, you can put in a customer satisfaction survey, okay, and put them in there. I'm not trying to upsell you. I'm just explaining what you've got.
No, I want you, because I do want to do the other products. I just got to understand what they are.
No problem. But this is where we cross-pollinate them so they reinforce each other. And that's where you do it. If there's nothing there, okay, then it's disabled. Okay.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. So I like to have people say, hey, and you can see how it shimmers. Click here, it immediately goes to the customer thing. Click here, it's going to go to my calendar link.
Yeah, awesome. I like that.
Okay. So it's really the whole point of having an online quote is engagement. Okay, like they're not reading a quote, they're engaging with it, because when they view it, you're going to be notified. When they accept it, you're going to be notified. They've got to type in everything. Okay. Also, they can select options. Okay, they can enable options to add, which you're going to love, because you can have some options that, biggie fries options. Do you want
Yeah,
that
upsell.
yeah, you want that shed in the backyard, the Uber
Yep,
pump,
yep,
whichever. Okay.
yep, yep.
So now we go back to that. Now, then we go to customize style.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now you can read, so you can say, put the logo placement on the right, put the
Right.
title placement on the left. Here's your color patterns. So you can basically go to your marketing guide, get the exact RGB codes, put them in here. So your quote picks up the exact theme of any of your other color palettes. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then here's something you're not going to care about: language overrides. Obviously, our people use this from the French department. Now,
Right.
some of these aren't language overrides as much as text overrides. So you can put in acceptance forms, original text, and you can have an override is put in gotcha or something along those lines. Okay, quote acceptance.
Oh, when it says override, that means when they click on it, they're going to get a message.
No, that means that the text that's in the template, in the
Yeah.
layout, this is where if you want the deposit line to say downstroke or something like that, then that's where you can put that in.
Oh,
We're
that's
just
how you,
trying.
okay.
It's alternative text. We just try to make this
Yeah, that's
as
easy.
friendly and as customizable as
Yeah,
possible.
because sometimes the original text is your internal language, whereas you want the customer to see
Yeah.
something else.
Yes, I like that. Okay.
Okay. So and the nice thing is, as you're laying this out, you can keep on clicking on preview to see that, it's what you expect. Now, when you go to customize style, you've also got presets up here. So let's say that, let's try olive. Okay. So
Oh,
you
I
can go with
see.
certain
Play,
presets.
get it right. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Totally.
this covers, we've only got an hour, so we're at 25 minutes. So I want to keep speeding along. Okay.
Yep.
That's what you've got to do first. Okay. Everything I see in the document that you sent, it covers the most difficult part of that. Okay. And
Yep.
you're gonna be good with that. And then, as I said, once you're done one, then just click on here, duplicate, and then keep creating the different ones for the different departments. Okay.
And then I can, so in theory, it'll have the same visual aspect, but the
They have different
specification.
terms and conditions,
Got it.
or
Yep.
you may even have different department names. Who knows? Okay.
Yeah.
That's up to you. Okay. Now,
Yep. Got it.
here's something that I know will be of interest to you based on our pre-sale communications.
Mm-hmm.
Follow-ups. Okay. So this is where you can automatically schedule things in ACT based on certain quote events. So the issuance follow-up, and what that means is when you create the quote. So when you create a quote, schedule the follow-up 0 days. I don't normally use this. You can see that I only have one selected, and that's the acceptance. But
Mm-hmm.
if some people, I mean, every single industry is different. So if you want to create a follow-up, okay, right after you create a quote, then do so here, and then select the activity and the number of days from that create date. Okay. Then delivery follow-up. Okay, so that means you've sent the quote. How long before you schedule your first follow-up? 0 days, which is the same day, 1 day, 2 days, so on and so forth. Okay, and then you can schedule what kind of follow-up it's going to be. This activity list is going to pull from your ACT database. So whatever custom activities you've got, this will be available to you. Okay.
So you do a follow-up for an email, it's going to send out a pre-determined, a pre-scripted.
It's not going to send out a pre-descripted. It's going to schedule something. Okay. I want to be really clear. It's going to schedule you to do something in Act. We do have automated emails, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. Okay.
Okay.
But this
stuff, that was one of the main points of me doing
well,
this.
That's what we got here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we've got is, and we talked about activity series, which is inside of Act. Okay. But then we've got, automatic activity after they accept it. So if they accept the quote, I want that same day, I want to schedule to do, I want to follow up on that activity. Here's the last thing, and this is really important. You can't create a quote without having an expiry date, okay? Now, the expiry date is often something that complies with your sales cycle or your vendor pricing or a particular promotion that you're offering, okay? Now, what you say is send reminder X number of days before the expiry date. So this goes out automatically. You don't have to do anything. Here is the template, okay? And you can select the template. You can create the template, do whatever. That will automatically go out, okay? So that's kind of cool. Yeah. I don't, so that I can tell you, and that will show up on your dashboard list of activities, okay, that it's gone out, and you will get copied on that. So you will know that each one of these emails have gone out. And it's kind of nice because sometimes you'll lose track of an opportunity deadline, okay? You give someone 30 days, it may be based on, as I said, on vendor pricing. It may be based on what they said was their decision timeline. It may be based on promotions, okay? But you're not going to be able to keep those at the top of your head all the time. So it's nice to know that you can set this 1 day before, 2 days before, whatever, okay? And then they will get that notification, and then you've got that reminder, they've got that reminder, and then that's a call to action, okay? So the email templates, this is where they all are, and let me just go into one. So here's where you create an email template, same kind of MC editor, but you see all these things down here? These are merge fields, okay? So you put in billing salutations, so hi Chris, okay? And then you could put in quote numbers, you can put in expiry date is really useful in many cases if the expiry date is real, okay? Just want to, reminder, your quote is scheduled to expire on blank, and that goes in. Here's the job title. You can put in your signature. So your signature, this is useful if you have a bunch of people quoting, okay? And you want the signature to go out regardless of who's sending it, okay?
So these are just my pre-made emails.
Exactly. You want to be able to, when you're sending a quote, select from drop down, go, okay?
Got it. And so let me ask you a question. Those tags at the bottom, are they drop and drag, or are they push at? Okay.
Wherever you put your cursor,
got it.
They go in.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
So again, let's say I put mine at the end of the field.
Yep. Got it.
Okay. Okay. And then here's where you can even put in the quote number right inside the subject line. So it's merging right into the subject line. And then you give it a name, and then you see where some of those preferences are, where it says use this particular email template. That's where you select that.
Yeah, so you name it concrete or asphalt or whatever.
Or, manual reminder, automatic reminder, things like that. Like
5-day reminder, 10-day reminder, 15-day reminder. Yeah, got it. I got it.
Okay. So those are the standard emails. Pick lists are kind of cool. Some of this isn't going to pertain to you because you've got the team edition. The people that don't have a team edition don't have the ability to support picture libraries. But if you want to have videos, this is where you put in your pick list. Okay, so you just click on here, you type in the name, you type in the address, it's YouTube, Vimeo, whichever, okay, and then you're good to go, okay?
I don't know if that's like for us, I don't like, what would that be for you guys? That's to send to somebody so they can preview a product?
Let's say that you're working with a particular vendor's pump, okay? And I'm not trying to sound like a smart guy on pumps.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it, but let's say they got the XJ1000 pump, which is the absolute high end, and the vendor has made a special promo video on it. Then right below the line item, you can add that quote, okay, or add that video.
Oh,
So
I got it. So then if they want to preview it, they can click on it and look at it.
Yeah, so let's take a look at this. Okay, I don't have one in here. Let me just check another one. Okay, see here? I put in a video,
Yeah.
click here, automatically pops up.
Got
and
it. Got
it plays right within the quote.
Got it.
Okay, that's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah,
Okay,
that is. I like that.
I'll tell you a story this week where a customer asked me for a video on Act Premium Cloud because she wanted to go to the cloud. I said, no problem. Can I send it over as part of the quote? No problem. I sent it over. It answered all her questions. I literally had a $7,000 payment in my account before I was done talking to her because I answered so many of her questions with the video and the resource material inside the quote. It was a discovery call to me, and before I knew it, it was closed. So the more information that you can put in, the better. Okay.
Got it.
I'm a big proponent of answering unasked questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So what happens is inside of a quote, you'll say something like video, and then you'll just click here, and it's going to show you the pick list.
Got it.
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out where you're at right now, so I don't get lost from where we started at.
Well, just remember this is recorded. Okay, so you'll get to hear the tones of my voice later. Okay. So now we're on the pick list. You don't need to worry about the images because you've got an image bank. Layouts we've covered, follow-ups we've covered. Let's look at personalization.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. So the default validity, what this means is what will be the default estimated close date based on the create date. So what we do is we typically will have it 30 days out. So whatever we quote, it's going to be 30 days. Okay. There is no right answer that applies to all industries, so you put in what makes sense. The default layout inherits from the account, which is from the team account. Here is where you set the default process in Act. This is for creating the opportunities. Even like a brand new database in Act will have multiple sales processes. Obviously, here is the stage that you want to start it at. I recommend quotation, obviously, because you're quoting. And then here is where you can put in your individual sales quota. That's why it says personalization, because this only applies to you, not to anyone else. So you put in your personal quota. So I've given myself a $20,000 monthly quota. So I put that in there. I'll show you where that gets surfaced later. Here is the last thing. We've run it. It isn't relevant to us at Keystroke because we have a very collaborative team, but there's a lot of industries and a lot of businesses where the salespeople, they don't share so much, okay? So this is where you can hide the quotes from others so that, they're not, the other salespeople can't see their other salespeople's prospects, okay? So, and then the last one is general here. So let's kind of go through this. Quote prefix, there is no right or wrong answer, okay? You set the quote prefix, you set the number of digits, and then you put in the suffix, and it's going to show you what that looks like here, okay? So whatever number convention you want to use, no problem, okay?
For what? For what?
For the quote number. Every quote's going to be assigned a new number in sequence, okay? And then here is the default validity. Remember, this is the general organization settings. So if you're going to use the exact same kind, then you don't have to put it in personalization because it's going to inherit it from the team, okay? The default deposit rate, I would think that's going to be very important for you. So you put in the default deposit rate, okay? And then the default deposit due is 0, which is the number of days after acceptance, okay? If you leave it 0, it won't surface that, okay? It just won't even include that, okay? And then here is the default email content, okay, which is the quote delivery. Again, you can select any template that you want to use, okay, but there's got to be a default one, okay? We added in currencies because, you know, we work on both sides of the border, okay? I don't think that'll be relevant to you. Taxes are another matter, okay?
Yeah.
Not to you, who cares? I won't bore you on that. Okay, then you go down to the extra features. So are you going to use the ACT database product lookup or the link to quotes product database lookup? The second one, okay? Then you're going to have identify product by the name or item number. I'll get to that later, but select the name because no one's going to remember the SKU, okay? And then security. Remember I told you that there would be a feature that you're going to love? So you click on this, and when they accept the quote, it's going to email them a code. And they're going to have to enter in that quote, in that code that only goes to them. You don't get a copy of it, okay? It only goes to them, and they have to enter it in the code to seal the acceptance, okay? So if they say, well, I never accepted it, sorry, we can't accept it on your behalf. This was accepted with an acceptance code, which means only someone at your email address could have accepted it, okay? So that's one extra little layer of security, okay?
Yeah. Is that easy for the customer, or is that a problematic?
It's as easy as getting an email and typing in 4 digits.
Got it, okay.
Okay? If they don't have access to their email, like it's a $50,000 to $100,000 purchase. Wait until you do.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're not rushing them.
Right.
Get to your email, okay? I mean, they're filling out something online, so I'm not really going to listen to people. I don't have access to my email when 99% of the people have a phone, okay,
Right.
that supports it, okay? So you'll want to enable this. This is where you would put your office manager, okay, that gets accepted on, copied on all quotes,
Got
okay?
it.
Because that may be, you know, James Paulus is our office manager. He's the one that starts the billing, that kind of thing. And then online payment, all you've got to do is click on this, and then there's a settings area where you can put in your PayPal account, and it will process, as you've seen, it will process the deposit or the full amount. I would think, I mean, I loved this feature. I was the one that pushed for this because when people are accepting a quote, that's when they got their wallet open, okay? So I like to have that enabled so that we can get people's money right away.
So if I remember right, though, that only works with PayPal. It doesn't work with everything out there. So mine might not be able to work.
Well, you got to remember, it's PayPal that processes it. You don't need a PayPal account. Okay, that's very. If you have a PayPal account, that's even easier. But if you just want to use your Visa, MasterCard, Amex, it's got that guest checkout. Okay, where you just go through that process. So that we have people every single day using that. Okay. So now you click on save and close, and you can see here that this button is save, and this button is save and close, and this is close. So if you just want to kind of tour through the features, don't want to make any changes, then you click on this, save. Obviously, you want to keep working on it. Don't click on save and close. You'll frustrate yourself. Okay. Okay. So with that, we've got all of these things done here. We're going to click on link to quotes again. Okay. And then we're going to go to products. Okay. Now, I don't know what you've got set up in your database, but if you've got your products currently in ACT, then just import them in from ACT, okay? If you've got them in a spreadsheet file, import them in as a spreadsheet file, okay? All this is to help you get started quickly, Okay, now let's go in and see what a product looks like. So you're going to get, you can create your own drop downs here. We recommend, remember I told you to search by the name. So put in the name here, and then this is where you can put in category. And the category is useful for filtering.
You
Okay,
said search by name of the product.
The name of the product, yes. That is a human-friendly name to your staff. Okay, so the reason that you want to have categories, because let's say that you want to click on filter and you want to say, show me all a particular category. Okay.
Like my concrete jobs or something.
I'm going to sound like an idiot telling you about your business. So whatever categories apply. Okay.
Right.
So now get back to this. So you can put in the categories. Here's where you put in the description. That's enough for them to identify what the hell it is you're talking about. You've got all the formatting options that you'll normally need.
So in my world, that would probably be specifications, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Now, here is an image of the product. Okay. You can click on here to grab from your pick list, or you can click on here to grab from your live. Now, if you're wondering where all these pictures come from, you just upload them.
Okay, good.
One at a time. Okay, we don't give you a library of pictures. Okay, and they get compressed on the way up, so you don't have to worry about sending up a high-res picture that will take up all your quota. Okay, and here's the different viewing options.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now you've got that. So we're back to this product link. So if you've got a page on your website that's covering this particular product, put this in, okay, and they will be able to click on the link in the product. They'll click on the name here, and that's why you want to keep the name short, because if you put in something here, this will be a hyperlink, and you don't want to have like row after row of hyperlink. You want it to be short so they can click on it, okay? Item number, this is the SKU, okay? The reason that people like this and the reason that we like this is that if you've got accounting integration, you're going to need to have something that identifies what the item is in your accounting program, okay? We don't provide accounting integration as part of this, but we support it, okay? So this is where your accounting integration would identify what product it's bringing over.
Like like that would be a general ledger numbers, but maybe.
It would be an item name, item name. I don't know what accounting program you're using. QuickBooks calls it items. Okay, a lot of people call them SKUs. Whatever you want to call them. Okay,
do you use QuickBooks, Chris?
I use Sage.
Okay, so they're going to have their own term for product names. Okay, yep. Doesn't matter. It's whatever is at the begin. Whatever the is at the beginning of the product list. Okay.
And the customer's going to see that number, or
customers will not. Well, customers won't see the item number. Okay. Right. And they're certainly not going to see cost. I wouldn't be able to sell this to anyone. And then the price. And then if you want to have a default discount, like for instance, when we quote Act Premium, there's typically a first year discount. So we'll always put in that, and that will calculate the adjusted price. Okay.
Got it. Yep,
now, marking this item as optional, I'm not a big fan of this unless that item is always optional, like filters or water cleaners or whatever. Okay, unless you always add it on, then don't click this. But if it is always optional, okay, like the Biggie Fries thing, then definitely click this. The last item is option group. Okay, this is a very, very powerful feature. This option group is if you are giving people choices of one product or another, okay, and you don't want them to select both, then you will put the same word in both, okay? And what that will do is it will make those options mutually exclusive. So if they select one, it will deselect the other, okay?
Oh, I got it.
So, like, for instance, these ones are optional, but if I put in here Act Premium Cloud Desktop Sync and then right along with it Act Premium Cloud Web Only, they can't get both. So they would check one or the other. Okay.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So back to that. So that pretty much covers everything you need to know on product setup. Now, when you import, it's going to populate the name. It's going to populate description if there is one. It's obviously not going to populate this stuff. It may populate the item. If you've got it there, it's going to populate cost if it's present, price, anything else. Okay, but this is where you can import it in and map it. Okay, but it makes the importing process makes it really, really easy, okay, to get started. And then what you do is you go through each of the products as you quote them, add pictures, add hyperlinks, add whatever. Maybe you're bored one weekend morning, you can go through a bunch at once, whichever. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the images, this is where you can either upload images on the fly as part of a quote, or you can upload them here. And this is where you could see all of the images that we've got.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, see all of these? And I'm showing this for a reason, because at the top, I'm going to show you that we've used, basically 13% of all of our storage. And that's a lot of images. Okay, so I can put in almost 10 times what we've got here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then you just click on upload image and grab anything from your desktop.
Got it. And then once it's in there, it's in that other drop down that you showed me earlier.
Yep. Okay, now this you're going to love. So this is where you're going to put in your insurance certificate. This is where you're going to put in possibly your cancellation policy. Okay, if it's required to be a separate document. Okay, but if you want to have your certificate of liability here, okay, you can put this in, and that way when you go to send it, it'll be readily available to attach with every quote. Okay, so that's kind of handy to have a quick pick list of documents.
Yeah, that's good.
Templates are basically saved quotes that you send out over and over again. Okay, I don't know how relevant that's going to be for you, because pretty much every one of your quotes is bespoke, I would guess. But if you had some that you wanted to create as a base, kidney shaped pool, Olympic sized pool, whichever, okay, then you can create a bunch of templates that will save some time in the initial setup. Okay, so you don't have to start every single one from scratch. Now, here it's going to be your main menu, okay, as you're working day to day. These things you're not going to touch much because they're part of the setup. You'll occasionally add templates, okay, and I'm going to show you how to do that. But here is where you're going to be. Now, remember when I put in quota? This is my progress bar towards quota. It's tracking this for me, okay? In this and in so many other areas, mine is much bigger than Vic's, okay? Nothing? Okay, let's move on. Okay, so now what you're going to do, not even a courtesy laugh there, Chris? I thought that was funny.
Yes.
I said mine's bigger than Vic's. See? He's my people. I got him. Okay.
So now Chris, don't encourage him. That's
where it glitched when you were showing me the progress bar. That's right.
Well, that explains, as I said, I thought, that was a pretty funny joke. And you were just sitting there staring, and I thought, this guy didn't seem that serious before, but okay. Anyway, so now once you're in a quote, okay, let me just show you here. You see over here, more actions?
Yep.
Copy to new quote. That means that if you're in a quote that you're likely to, you don't want to make a template of it, but you've asked to do 2 similar type quotes, then you can copy to a new quote. Here's where you take an existing quote and save it as a template. Okay. Save to act history. What this will do, and this is especially important in your industry where your quotes are so customized, and I'm just guessing, but it's fair to assume that there's a lot of back and forth and changes when you're quoting people, okay? Well, you may start off with a very big quote that's got all the biggie fries options, and then they say, okay, we'll take that off and take that off and take that off. Every time you save it to history, you'll get a little snapshot as a PDF to the history, which is really useful because there'll always be those numbnuts that at the very end of the quoting process that will say, you know what, I've changed my mind. Let's go back to the beginning. And you're like, hey, you dumb fuck, I just deleted 90% of this quote. You can now then go back to your history, pull up the PDF, and be able to reproduce it.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay. Send the
so
quote.
I have to do that manually though every time I change it.
Yes, you've got to do it it will attach it every time you send it. But if you want to take a snapshot of that particular iteration, then that's what you got to do. But every time you send it, it will keep a snapshot of it. But I added that feature just because the first person that did that to me, it's like, you know what? I'm building in support for that. Okay, so next. So send the quote. That's same as save and send over here. Schedule a follow-up. Okay, this is really cool. So this will allow you to schedule. I'm going to show you how you can do that elsewhere as well. So download the quote. That basically downloads the PDF right to your computer. Download documentation. So I already showed you the security feature. Okay, if you get someone that claims, oh, I never accepted that, what you can do is you can go in here. Let's go to an accepted quote. Okay, I can go in here and I can say download documentation. So here is the full acceptance certificate. So here's the quote number, date issued, valid until, accepted, bill to, currency, acceptance details. You notice it even tracks the IP address, the email, PO is verbal, date accepted, okay? Online payments, date stamps. Here's every single interaction with the quote. Why is that important? Well, if they say, I didn't accept it, well, it looks like someone from this exact same IP address, it was engaged pretty thoroughly with it. So I'm sorry you're full of shit, but here's evidence that whoever looked at the quote eventually ended up accepting it.
And it also shows every time they open and read it.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So it shows the entire engagement history with the quote. So
that's great.
I can tell you, if you ever get anyone that does a chargeback, we've had this and we've sent this off to the credit card company and we win every time. Okay. And all it is, save, send it off, save it as a PDF, done. No work whatsoever. We aggregate it all for you.
And this is also a good way to make sure they received it if you didn't hear back from them.
Well, no, you're going to get that information elsewhere. Okay. All this is for the idiots that claim that they didn't actually accept it. Okay. Okay. So more actions. Delete quote. I don't recommend deleting a quote unless it was for a demo. Okay. And you don't want to have any evidence of that, because if you disable a quote, you're able to reopen it again. Because you may have sent someone a quote, they lost their job, we can't buy a pool right now, they get another job, they call you back a year from now, okay, can you reopen that quote? Because at that point, you don't want it on your dashboard, right?
Right.
So this will allow you to open it up again, okay? Now, a lot of this stuff gets populated automatically, okay? Let me just go to one that is open. Okay, when you open up a quote, this is going to be empty. So you're going to click on here and you're going to type in their name or their email, okay? And then you're going to just type in, like if I typed in, okay, if I typed in Victor Cron, it's going to find him, okay? I select that and he'll be added to the BCC. If, however, you just got a business card from someone you're not near your act, you're at home, you can click on create new contact and you can actually add them to the database on the fly.
Got it.
Okay, I think we're the only quoting solution that does that. Okay, now this is a recent feature, little toggle interface as kind of an introduction. Okay, so if you want to convert this from a quote over to say more of a proposal, then you can have a little preamble here inside of this. So it's separate from the email body and it's right inside the quote. Okay, so you can have some kind of ad hoc terms, conditions, or I'm proposing this because of whatever. Okay, make sure that that all becomes part of it, and then you can close this here. You don't have to use it. It's just an option that we had more and more people request this. Okay, and
why would they request that? For what purpose?
People wanted their quotes to look much more like a proposal. Okay, so what we get is, well, I don't sell widgets, I sell solutions, or I sell services. No problem. Introduce them with a little preamble at the beginning, and that was just golden to them.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay. There is very few options. There's very few businesses that support every conceivable option. Okay, like very few. So now we click on product, and when you click on product, you can just type in a couple of letters, and then click on here to see what hits you get. Or what I recommend is click on this folder and then type in here. And I'll tell you why I recommend it. Because if you say select here and you want to put in a similar option and you click in here again, it's saved. So now you can put in maybe the next option.
Oh, I got it. I got it.
Okay, so it's kind of like an easy way of multi-selecting.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you select an item, okay, you've got your little ellipsis here that allows you to set on, literally ad hoc purchase options. So this is where you can put in the option group. You can put in this item is optional. Okay, this item is selected and optional. Okay, you can add in special one-time conditions in here. Okay, things like that. And then if you build in a product here that maybe you haven't sold before, you can click on save this to the database. Okay. So I'll just quickly run through these little items here. So product, upcharge you'll probably never use. Okay, for us, we use it for foreign exchange and things like that. Running subtotal, if you need to keep track of subtotals inside of a quote, okay, maybe apply a special discount to one section of a quote, then you'll need a running subtotal. Headers, there's two ways of headers. If you just select heading, it will go above the column headers. If you select subheading, it will go below wherever you insert it. Okay, so if you want to have like this is a pool quote, okay, at the very top above the column headers, then that's when you would select the header. If you want to have these are your options and have it midway down the quote, then you would use sub. Text is where you want to put in little parenthetical notes, okay, right inside. And the reason that we put this in here is that it will run from left to right. It will not observe the columns. So it will run the full width of it and it will stand out more on account of that. Like if you want to put in, this is only available to the end of the month and whatever, okay? Images we've covered, videos we've covered, and attachments. This is where you can actually add your attachments and you just select here and this will show you the attachments as the documents we covered. Okay. So, and then I'm going to quickly go down because we're just out of time. So now here is your two main views. This is your quote list. Okay. This shows you all your quotes and you can sort them up here based on whatever. I've got them currently sorted by subtotal. from highest to lowest, because guess what? I care about the biggest quotes. Okay,
Yep.
now this is what I like here. So here's, I can preview the quote. Here I can send the quote. Here I can edit the quote, but take a look at here. Copy link, copy short URL. So what this will do, because you've got the team edition, it will generate a short URL, okay, that you can use to reply to an email. Hey, I didn't get that quote. Click here, reply to the email, paste it in there. It'll be a super short thing. They click on it, they've got access to the quote.
Oh, got it.
Download quote, schedule follow-up. This is where you can actually go through your quote list and say, okay, I haven't heard back from this guy. I'm going to schedule a follow-up. Okay. Okay, mine is not popping up right now. I'm not sure why. Okay, there it is. So it pops up, schedules it. It's going to be by default timeless because it's presuming that you're not looking at your calendar. Because if you're looking at your calendar, you would just enter it in. Okay, but this allows you to schedule a timeless activity. Okay, you can schedule a time if you want, but it's going to default to timeless, and then you could schedule the activity type and make whatever notes, but it's going to pull through the quote, and you can put in whatever location you want. Okay.
Got it.
And then if someone says to you, I accept, here's my credit card, then you could accept the quote by proxy here. Let me go down to a lower one here. You can accept the quote by proxy, and you can say, do I want to notify the customer that will send them the accepted quote? Or if they've already, I don't want to because, they accepted by some other means, and that will just irritate them. So you can clear that. That will avoid sending out the notification. Okay.
Got it. Yep.
So we're at an hour point. I think we've covered everything. You will play around with these filters. A lot of them are pretty self-evident. If you want, you can just click on here, and this it will by default look like this. And then you just click on filters, and it will expand.
Got it.
Okay. And then same thing with the activity dashboard. It's going to display in order of most recent activity, quote views, things like this. So for instance, I could see Shannon created this quote. Sorry, I'm finding this funny because this particular customer uninstalled his Windows 11, reinstalled it, and now his act doesn't work because his old version of act only worked because he installed Windows 11 as an upgrade.
Oh,
Once he did a refresh, he couldn't reinstall act, and I sent him an email last night saying, you're going to have to upgrade the V24, and here's the quote. It's kind of funny to see two lives collide there. Okay, but you could see here, this person accepted the quote and paid for it.
Got it.
Okay, so I can see all these engagements here. Now, this person accepted the quote yesterday, and despite that and paying for it, I could see they looked at it a couple of times this morning. So I'm now girding myself for a possible call in case they had technical difficulties.
Got it.
Okay, so there we are. Here's the refresh button. All of this is mobile responsive, so you can work with this on your phone. It's obviously not going to be as clean as this, but it shows really nicely on the phone as well. Okay. Excellent. Okay, take care, guys.
Thanks.